Sanjay Hegde, when an editorial which comes from a magazine linked to the RSS suggests that the Supreme Court is a toolkit which is being used by anti-India forces, what does it mean in terms of the wisdom of the top court of this country?
Well, the Supreme Court is quite accustomed to all kinds of people saying all kinds of things. It is not deterred from its job. Whatever are the cases that are brought before it, the Supreme Court has to hear them. The Constitution provides not only for equality before the law, but for the equal protection of the law. Whoever these gentlemen are, they must also remember that it was the same Supreme Court that also gave Ajmal Kasab an extensive appeal. And we could tell the world that no matter how heinous a crime even an outsider commits, we do have the rule of law in place. Now, you may agree with judgments, you may disagree with judgments, but you can't classify petitioners as nationalists and therefore entitled to a different line, and anti-nationals who should not be heard at all. That is utter nonsense.
All right, okay. Tahseen wants to come in quickly, Tahseen, and I'm going to cut across to Mr. Nigam then. Go ahead.
Two very quick points that we should all know. The Most Honorable Prime Minister is one amongst equals. He's not the king of this country. He's not the emperor of this country. He's one amongst equals. And my constitutional right, guaranteed to me by the Constitution of India, which is supreme, allows me to criticize anyone and everyone. Number two, we all respect the clean sheet that the Most Honorable Prime Minister got. But despite a clean sheet, if we want to be critical of anybody, including the ex-Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, who's a martyr, for example, in Bofors.
No, but he might be a martyr for you. He might not be a martyr for me or for Mr. Nigam. But everybody has a right to their opinion.
But what I'm saying is he was martyred for this country, whether you like it or you don't.
Martyr for you, maybe. There are a lot of people in this country who don't think Rajiv Gandhi is a martyr.
That's fine.
Yes.
So, and that is the right democracy gives you. You don't think somebody is a martyr. That's also a right that the Constitution gives you. The fact is that Mr. Rajiv Gandhi got a clean sheet in Bofors. The Delhi High Court came down extremely heavily on our Atal Bihari Vajpayee government and told them, you spent 400 crores on not being able to prove a case on which was an alleged corruption of 64 crores by misleading the public. They went to 4 international courts and they lost. And yet, night after night, BJP will criticize the Prime Minister who's been killed or assassinated on the Bofors issue. That time they don't think about the courts. The BJP runs with the hare and hunts with the hound. And what they're doing is extremely dangerous by being critical of the Supreme Court the way they are, by saying you cannot go to the courts, that's a toolkit. That is a very dangerous argument to make. It's an argument not democracies but authoritarian countries make.
You know, Mr. Nigam, I'll bring in what Mr. Hegde also said. Because, you know, to get into a territory where you're actually, you know, there's an editorial which at some line is being celebrated by saying, oh, you can open doors for terrorists. But the fact is that is what justice is supposed to do, sir, isn't it?
Kriti, I was actually, I appreciate Mr. Hegde's point of view. Reason being, he said everybody has a right to be heard. And the point that I made, on one hand, you were dismissing the petition for complete ban. On the other hand, you were listing the other side. I wanted both these sides to be heard together. That is, I think, the point which I am trying to make. We are discussing Supreme Court and the BBC documentary petitions that are there, and obviously the Panchajanya which has made a particular statement. But the point I am making, I am not representing Panchajanya. What I am saying, a Supreme Court's duty is to hear both the sides. How can you dismiss a petition, one petition, and then say we'll hear the other one? Hear both the petitions together, club them together, hear everything out. And then you will come to a conclusion, which is a balanced conclusion, and which will appear that justice has been done to everybody. This is my point of view.
Mr. Hegde, would you want to weigh in on this, sir?
You know, to take each petition on merits. Here the question is, can the government take certain content off social media channels just because it doesn't like that? Like the content. On the other hand, is another maybe an ill-conceived petition which says that, oh, you should ban it altogether. Each action and each petition is tested on the merits. Just because one side is heard and dismissed does not mean that the other side is not valid. You have to let the courts do their work, without unnecessary criticism or attributing motives. You can criticize that, okay, your choice of cases is bad. But when you start saying that you have a bent of mind, you have an agenda, that's where you've crossed the line.